The growing calls across the nation to defund the police.
To end policing as we know it.
Off the charts violence in New York City. 11 people shot in just 8 hours on Sunday.
This is about the police officers who every single day put on that uniform and they run towards danger when we run away from it.
Guns up!
Giddy up, everybody. Welcome to the Failure to Stop podcast. And that is probably the smoothest we have ever entered the live stream and the podcast. We did it. Good job. I'm proud of you, buddy.
Wait my whole life for this.
Yeah, you shine in your moment. You should be proud. You are so stunning. You are so brave.
You know what? It's been this is one of those cases that I'm really excited about. And today's show, I've been up since early this morning and I'm in my zone, baby.
I hope so, man. Today, guys, welcome to the show. If you are joining us live on our YouTube channel, it's good to see you in the chat. Thank you for being here. If you are listening to this show when you finally get around to it this afternoon or this weekend, thank you for listening. If you feel like we add value or information, we entertain you, any of those things, please tell people about the show, share it up on social media. Be sure to subscribe, wherever you listen to the podcast, do automatic downloads. Make sure you're getting it delivered. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Share it, like it, comment. All of that stuff helps the algorithm. All of that stuff helps it grow. And on today's breakdown, I'll tell you what, man, this is crazy. Eric dropped this story in a text message to me earlier this week. And my first glance was like, well, this is kind of crazy, but it's pretty cut and dry. And the deeper we dug, the more crazy the story became, and it's not all over the news. And when you hear this story about spies infiltrating law enforcement at the highest levels, like the Secret Service, you're going to be like, why is this not plastered everywhere? Why do we not know about this? So we're going to take a deep dive into this today. So buckle up and listen in. We are also going to be joined by Hamidi again. You guys have listened to the show. You'll be familiar with Hamidi, the Terrorist Whisperer. He's going to bring his expert experience to the table. We'll introduce him shortly. But we want to thank you guys, acknowledge the Wolf Pack, all of the support that you're giving us constantly, including the all-important leaving of reviews on Apple Podcasts. That helps us huge. We're already in the top 250 of true crime. We switched categories to true crime, and we're climbing the charts there. We appreciate you. And so what kind of reviews do we have here, Elijah? Power Guy 55 says this podcast is part of a balanced breakfast. 5 stars. Listening to this podcast is like throwing back 3 extra strong espressos while taking a cold shower after sleeping 12 hours in a ghost bed. You need it to start your day. And there it is, folks. People reviewing our sponsors in our reviews.
Name another
It's a
podcast.
sponsorception. It's a sponsorception. Abe Lincoln was a crisis actor. Says keeps me hard. 5 stars. I used to have to sit in a dumpster and pleasure myself with a jar of mayonnaise to get hard. Now I just turn on this podcast or turn on by this podcast. Skate Daddy Tansey and Mike do a great job of getting me off with their voices. Guns up, giddy up.
Now that's another one of those reviews that's just chocked full of inside jokes. So the guy gets it. He gets this show, and I appreciate that.
This review is something I think my grandkids will be proud of. I don't know. Sometimes I look at my own show and I'm like, what's the legacy here? But I'm excited. It's interesting. Useless Dream On, my fave guilty pleasure, 5 stars. Talk radio meets cop shop talk, my nightly indulgence. A lot of laughs while presenting facts versus fake news. Love these guys. The guests and the different formats each show. Can't wait for the 5 shows a week. Thanks, guys, for much needed entertainment. It's a good reminder to let you guys know what you're listening to right now is our flagship episode. It's every Friday. It's where we started. It's where we stay. It's where where it's at, right? This is the main show, Failure to Stop here. We break down cases, modern, past, on Friday's show. Mondays is Off the Cuff. Me and Dave break down law enforcement related news. Tuesday nights is Night Shift. Eric and I are, dude, who knows what? Night Shift is anything goes. It's just anything goes. Thursday, Eric does Last Call with the overpaid producer and breaks down all of your pop culture needs. Yesterday's was amazing. I am now convinced that the Loch Ness Monster is a whale penis and is not a large old dinosaur. I mean, honestly, it's the most plausible explanation.
I agree. There's one more
only
review.
except for a whale can't get into fresh water that far, or it hasn't been seen.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Nobody's seen it, right? But it could be. It could have made it up the river lock into the fresh water.
It looks.
It does
you,
look like a
you
whale
convinced
penis.
me. You convinced me in that episode. But anyway, you want your pop culture news? You want to keep up with what Britney Spears has going on her path to OnlyFans or overdose? We're taking bets. I don't know. Maybe we'll be on DraftKings soon. We'll see.
There's one more review, and in my opinion, this is the greatest review that's ever been left.
Oh, bold.
Well,
move.
do you want to do the honors? Because
No,
I feel uncomfortable reading it.
I'll do it. I'll read it.
Okay,
If you're
yeah,
uncomfortable, I will read it. Whatever it is, I'll read it.
Yeah. Let's go. You got it, Skate Daddy.
Oh God, the reason why you didn't want to read it is because it's so fucking small. Okay. It's Wednesday morning. The sun is shining and I have a cool, crisp energy drink ready to start my shift. I look on Apple Podcasts and notice there's a new Night Shift episode. Everything has prepared me for this moment. Mike and Transy's voice hit my ears and prepare me for climax. As they continue to talk, I feel a shudder go through my body as a stream of jizz arcs in the sunlight like morning rain. As I finish, I'm now prepared for work. Great job, guys. Keep up the good work. That's the first time I've ever read that, and I think I fucking knocked it out of the park.
Good job.
So great.
Great
Good
review, even
job.
better review read.
Well, good for you, buddy. I appreciate you stepping in and covering that. It couldn't have been read by a better person. All right. What other housekeeping items do we have before we dive into this unbelievable case? Do we you've got the keys to the car here, my friend. Other than just I can't encourage you guys enough to please share the show up. We're on the cusp of some pretty significant growth, and we need your help. So we appreciate you.
Yeah, moved into the new studio this week, and so that's been really great. Some people have been commenting on the HDness of my face. That is not because I'm glowing as a new father, but because I literally have new equipment and a new office, new studio. So that's why it looks nice.
Looking good, man.
So today's breakdown, we are a younger podcast. And so we have a lot going on. We're not just podcasting 4 shows a week. We're dealing with swag things, and we're dealing with Discord things and social media things and network things and sponsor things and moving. So there's a lot of moving pieces, but we're not so big that we have people to write for us and to do our own journalism. So we're having to do those things ourselves as well as everything else. So today may have bit off more than I can chew because I did not know that I would stumble into a case that is bigger than, it really is bigger than life. And I encourage all of you true crime lovers, passionate true crimers, that this is actually a case that I don't think has been thoroughly cracked yet. And I don't know that the information is all that hard to find. I don't think anybody's just had the balls to put it together, or maybe the time to put it together. So this is one of those cases where I feel like if I had time in life, I would have made one of those boards that you see in the movies
with
the
all
ropes
the
and the
strings.
strings.
Yeah.
I would have, because this is an incredible case that I don't think that I uncovered the case, but it's one of those things where I came across the case and I started looking into this case that we're going to talk about today. And then all of a sudden I accidentally typed in something else, which made me call somebody else, which then gave me information that colluded with the information I already had by accident. And before you know it, I have spun this web in the last 48 hours that not even I can keep up with. So I'm going to do my best to tell this story. And that's why we brought on Hamidi, the Terrorist Whisperer, to help us out with this. Hamidi is releasing his new podcast this week. It's called The Black Site. He is a counter-terrorist expert. He was America's first spy. We're talking all about America's first Iraqi spy that we know of. And then, but because he's a spy expert and he's an expert on espionage and psyops, and we thought it would be really great to have him on to help me with this. He's actually got an interview today with President Zelensky's head advisor from Ukraine on his show, Black Site. So if we want to welcome to the studio, Hamody Jasim, the Terrorist Whisperer. Bring him on in here. Hello, Hamody.
Hello, guys. Thank you very much for having me today. It's a really honor being with you guys, as always.
Thank you, man. I'm looking forward to your show this afternoon. I cannot wait till it comes out. I know it's going to be incredible. And I'm glad you're here to help us out because I think there's going to be a lot to break down. Mainly, if anything, Hamody, you can just help me with these names because I'm a real, like I said, I'm a real white American toxic man, and I'm going to fuck up your religious names in the most offensive way.
No worries. Even the name you were giving me earlier, I was like, how do I spell this? And I know how to say it. It's Imran, but you're like Iran. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. I'm going to.
Yeah, Tansey's got issues with regular American names.
I know, bro. It's like anything that's different Middle East, he can't spell it.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's a racist.
This guy's name is this guy's name Joan. They're like, that's John, Eric. All right.
Yeah, when Donut was like, I'm gonna go stream on Twitch. Oh, okay. What's his last? What'd you say? Your last name is Twitch? Donut Twitch?
No, he said he was talking about somebody, and I guess he was saying that person makes $500 million on Twitch. But all I heard was $500 million and the guy's first name, and then I heard Twitch, and then I was like, wait, who is this guy? What's his name? What's his name? Twitch? What is it? Because I heard billion. I don't know. I've never Twitched in my life.
I'm not on Twitter.
$1 billion.
It said the guy made $500 million on Twitch. Ninja was the guy's name.
Oh,
I thought he was calling him Ninja Twitch. So I thought, I'm like, whoa.
That, yeah, just as long as you don't tell people on last call that you are now a fan of Ninja Twitch, and we'd have to course correct.
They were talking about clean actually, but.
He talked about Ninja, but anyway, let's get back on topic here.
Okay. Well, I feel like a crazy person with this case because I felt like I didn't sleep at night. I've got notes and paperwork everywhere, as I've learned from Mike. And he says if you write it the old school way with pen and paper, you won't get disorganized. That's not true. I'm more disorganized than ever in this case. And I'm nervous, as always. So this case starts with espionage at the highest level where two men faked being Homeland Security investigators, and they linked themselves over the last 2 years into the Secret Service and as close as you can get to Jill Biden's personal security detachment from the Secret Service. In fact, trading of funds, trading of goods, giving rides to, and being in the White House with firearms loaded. These guys duped everybody over 2 years. And they were just released from prison or released on bail yesterday. And if it wasn't for them getting released on bail yesterday, I would not have discovered that this is far bigger than just what I've told you. And I called Mike immediately and we decided, I said, this has to be the entire Friday breakdown. So the title is that men pose as Homeland Security agents offered gifts to real life Secret Service employees, including an agent assigned to the First Lady of the United States. That's what the mainstream media put this out as. And the two guys that we'll talk about today later is Ariane Tahazda. Where you come in?
Ariane Tahazada.
Tahazada. Okay,
Yeah.
I was close.
Okay, it's all right.
And then Haider Ali.
Yeah, that's easy.
That's an easy one. So we're going to get into the story of Haider Ali and Ariane very shortly. But before we do that, this story actually starts in 2017. And we're going to talk about a guy named Sahid Imran Awan. Go ahead and give me a name check on that. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Imran. Yeah.
Imran Awan. So he was born in Pakistan. He's a Pakistani American, born in 1980, came over to the United States. He was awarded
A green card.
a green card to come over to the United States in the lottery. And he came over here and he worked in the fast food restaurant. And one source that I talked about when we
Dress is nice for working in a fast food restaurant.
Well, he doesn't work there anymore. So he was working there where he acquired a felony charge. I don't know what that felony charge is. I wasn't able to get it from my source when I found this, but he was a convicted felon as he was working as a fast food employee. Then he goes and makes it into college. Great. Good job living the American dream. He graduates from college as an IT tech, makes his way to Virginia, where he begins an IT career. And then in 2004, he gets hired by Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who is a congresswoman, and she's out of she's the 23rd congressional district for Florida's 23rd congressional district. She's a member of the Democratic Party, and then she was also head of the DNC National Committee during the 2016 Democratic primaries.
Right, so
she was fired.
My first question is, what is the connection between Imran and Debbie Weiserman Schultz or whatever? Like, how does he get a job with? How does he go from fast food to
I can
working
explain
for?
that to you if you like.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is easy, man. When you have someone of that background, it's easier to get a job with a Democratic candidate over a Republican candidate. You have to understand that foreign intelligence agencies do a huge study of the American division, of how the politic works in America. And literally every single spy, every single Russian psyop propaganda, everything comes through the window of Americans being divided. So, of course, when you are a Pakistani person, that most likely you work for the Pakistani intelligence or any other intelligence in the area. It doesn't have to be the Pakistanis just because he's from Pakistan. And they find these windows where they can get through. And if you think about it, the Democratic Party is very open with the immigration, welcomes other people from other countries. And look, it's not a bad thing. However, for someone of this background, where could he find a ground to start? The best place to start is definitely political candidates, because what these political candidates is, they want to show the diversity of their team. So if I was him in the same situation, who I'm an experienced IT, knows what I'm doing, I would absolutely find my way in that zone. And most likely that is the best place for him to start or to enter anywhere that's a government or gets involved in the government. I mean, I can guarantee you that if he goes to any other place, he would not have gotten anywhere further.
Right.
Gotcha.
So Wasserman Schultz hires this guy to be her IT guy. Not only him, but she recruits him to 30 other congressmen, all Democrats, right? Which, fine. So now he, over the course of from 2004 to 2017, he, his wife, his two brothers, and a friend. Now, the interesting part about this friend, and remember this as I tell the story, the friend has no IT experience, and there's very little known about him except he is also Pakistani. Okay? So they end up doing $4 million worth of contract work for the Democrats.
Over what period of time?
2004 to 2017.
Oh, okay.
$4 million worth of IT service.
So I'm you got to forgive me here, man. I'm
okay,
trying to
no, please. Let's
so
go. It's just fine.
You said this starts in 2017.
Yes. 2017 is when this is all falling apart.
Okay.
This is when
But this really goes back to 2004. That's when Imran starts
That's
working.
when he started working. Yes. Yeah. But in 2017, he gets arrested.
So within 3 years of 9/11,
yeah,
a Democratic congressperson
yes
hires a non-citizen
yes well he is a
from
citizen.
Pakistan
yes
and his family to do IT.
$4 million worth of IT. Now,
okay,
it's not just that, it's all of IT for the Democrats. So he then, in this investigation with Imran, finds out that he has everybody's passwords. Keylogger was installed on almost every computer. Now, if you don't know what keylogger is, and I learned about keylogger when I was serving in special operations, I actually took an entire course on keylogger. Keylogger is it's a CD, it's a disc. Well, it was when I was in the early 2000s going through special operations courses. I'm sure it's changed now. But you can
right
literally
next to your AOL discs for your free 20 hours.
And for you nerds out there, I'm not going to talk a lot about this. I'm going to be as vague as I can because I don't know. The class I took was definitely a classified class, and I don't know. I'm not going to disclose classified information, even though I think it's so long ago and I've been out for so long that it probably wouldn't matter. But I'm just going to be vague just so I can just not have to worry about it and I can sleep peacefully. Essentially, keylogger is you could take a CD disk and you could put it into a computer and then install this spyware, and anything that you text or write in this computer, any text will be sent to your device. So emails, passwords, anything that is typed on a computer will stream out in a form of text into like what is now like modern day your notes on your phone. It'll just keep coming across your phone that this is what was typed in and the order that it was typed in. So if you put in a password, it might say, let's say the password was wood 123. So if somebody writes wood 123 like 16 times in a day, you know that wood 123, and then maybe they have wood 123 at exclamation mark. You could probably tell that that's a password. So now we have a password to something in that computer. It's not going to give you much more than that, but that's keylogger have been installed on many of the computers. There was also servers set up all around the White House or where Congress meets in the House, several different places. There were servers linking information back to a computer. And that's how much the access these guys. Now imagine you're a Pakistani employee and you have 30 congressmen's computers with almost all the information, their email passwords. You set up their email accounts. When they get locked out, these are the guys that you call. Now I know that, a lot of you guys have jobs, first responders. We all have that one IT person that works for your department that pretty much knows everything about the department as far as passwords and network systems go, right? You get logged out of a system, you make the phone call, they fix it to you. That's what these guys were to the House Democrats. So Imran Awan rents a house out to a Marine, and his wife works for Navy intelligence. This is in Virginia, very close to DC. He rents out his home to this couple, and they have a parts of the house that they still have storage of Imran's stuff in this house. Like maybe it's in the garage or in an attic or something like that. But as this Marine is going through some of the old stuff that was left behind from Imran when his wife and he lived there, they found government computers that looked like they had been damaged, but they were definitely the government computers. And if you don't know what a government computer looks like, it's usually kind of like a tougher cased laptop, and it usually will say confidential information on a tag on the front. We can all tell what a government computer looks like. Well, he notices this, and so he calls the FBI and he says, hey, I'm going through my attic and I found lots of these laptops that looked like they're government laptops. So they send it over to the FBI and come to find out that that's where this investigation starts to unravel, is that these were damaged and they had been wiped clean government computers that they don't know where they came from. So that starts now. The FBI had that, but nothing really went for it. Now, where I come into this information is I talked to a source in DC by accident. I did not know who Imran Awan was. I didn't even know who Debbie Schultz was. But I'm asking him about this case that we're talking about today with Ariane Tahazada and Ali. And he said, hey, man, this sounds, I know the story you're talking about. We have been told nothing about it. But this also sounds like a case that's very similar to Imran Awan. Now, this guy works in the White House, and he told me that on a particular night shift, a laptop was found in a phone booth. I was able to substantiate this information because of an article that I found written by a CIA operative, a retired CIA operative named Phil Giraldi. He's a former CIA.
Phil Giraldi or Phil Giraldi?
Giraldi, Giraldi.
Remember the movie Groundhog Day? Phil Gill.
Phil Gill.
Watch that last step. It's a doozy.
It's a doozy.
Phil about that name.
Giraldi is a former CIA officer and Army intelligence officer who spent 20 years overseas in Europe and in the Middle East working on terrorism cases. He holds a BA with honors from the University of Chicago. He has a PhD in modern history from the University of London. He was an executive director of the Council of National Interest. He's got a great career. So he wrote an article on this where they discovered a laptop inside of the Democratic National Committee, where it was in a crevice. Now, my source tells me that it was in an old phone booth. So it's interesting that when I did my research, this guy describes it as a crevice, as an unused office crevice. Which, right?
Crevasse.
Like that's kind of accurate. An old unused phone booth could be an old office crevice. But there was a computer on, and the way that I heard it was that one of the officers that was doing their nightly rounds saw a glow coming from the phone booth as if somebody was in it. And they opened it up, and there was a computer that was on. It was an iPad type laptop device, and they couldn't figure out who it belonged to. And so they turned it over to the intelligence division of the department. And they discovered that this thing was actively downloading information from servers all around the White House and the Democratic National Committee server. It was directly connected to the Democratic National server as well as everything else. So this computer later is going to be identified to be Debbie Schultz's computer. All right.
Laptop.
Her laptop. So
okay.
Anyway, the shit goes down the hill. So Awan's wired at the same time. This Awan guy wired credit money to Pakistan as part of a $283,000 wire transfer that was made in January. This laptop thing was found in February.
January of when?
2017. His wife, Haina Alvi, also left the United States 2 months later. Okay, so let me back up because I know I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's go back to Wasserman Schultz. Okay. So they find this laptop. They found the FBI already has all these other devices that were found in the home of the
old house.
Marine. Now they're starting to put together this case kind of against Imran, trying to figure out what's going on. Now they're starting to find money discrepancies where they were overcharging for their services. So they're starting to get this case built.
Where has
Imran?
Was he still employed in 2017 or had he gone on to something else and was no longer employed by the DNC?
He's still employed. He's still employed.
Okay.
Still employed. All right. So the A1s, they billed Congress more than $4 million between 2004 and 2016, which was 4 times higher than the normal for any of the other government contracted IT specialists at that time. Okay. The considerable level of overbilling was never explained by Congress. In spite of all that income, Imran declared bankruptcy in 2010, claiming losses of $1 million in a car business that he owned in Falls Church, Virginia. And that business name was Cars International A, abbreviated on its business cards as CIA. Pretty interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. On February 2016, the A1s come under suspicion for having set up an operation to steal and resell government-owned computer equipment. It was also believed that they had somehow obtained access to the House of Representatives computer databases, as well as other information in the internal computer system that they were not normally authorized to work on as part of their duties. The Capitol Hill police began an investigation and quietly alerted the congressmen involved that there might be a problem. Still did not, and this was they must stop employed the Awan family. But Wasserman Schultz said, no, they're going to stay on the payroll. She actually kept them on the payroll until the day after they were arrested, which was a long time after this. Okay. So she never, ever, even though all these things are starting to come out, she never took them off of employment. Now we know as police officers, we know as first responders, that if there's an investigation, you're immediately kind of terminated without being terminated. They take your gun, they take your badge. But in this case, the guy gets to continue to work freely. Now, at the same time all this is going on, there is a massive wiki leak of information, of emails that link back to Hillary Clinton and the DNC server. In these emails, it came out that Schultz and the DNC had conspired to work against Bernie Sanders and make Hillary Clinton the front runner. And we all remember they ruined Bernie Sanders' chance of being a nominee. So that all came out, and that was Russia. That was a Russian hack. They felt this is what the media says happened, right? We all remember the WikiLeaks. That was a Russian inside job. In this case, at that moment, Debbie Schultz was removed from the DNC because of ethics violations. Okay. But remember, Hillary Clinton was never punished. She still went on to be the delegate. Now, all this is going on. All the while, they have this computer that belongs to Imran that was downloading every email from every server at the DNC. When he was under investigation, it is claimed that he he made a threat that said, I will burn you all down and I will leak these emails if you keep investigating me and my family. Now, if you have that kind of right
That's one of the
can't.
most valuable pieces of information on the planet.
So now why this begs the question is if this is all going on at the same time, you get caught with selling and reselling or gathering and selling government products, and you've quadruply charged the government and you're under this investigation, but you're not fired. So now does it make sense? Because you've said, if you fire me, I'm going to burn you down. So if you link those two stories together, that makes perfect sense, which I had to link all this stuff together through various articles. So I'm coming up with this on my own. It might be a reach, but it's crazy how this was all in January. It was all starting in February 2016 all the way to February 2017. All in that time frame of getting
interesting,
fired.
if nothing else, right?
Right. And he is directly connected to only Wasserman Schultz, and she is the one that went down for the whole DNC hack and the whole WikiLeaks. She was the one that had all the terrible emails. And of course, we all know that what happened to Hillary Clinton's emails is they all disappeared. And this was all under a Russian hoax. So it goes on. He then uses, Imran decides that he is going to use Homeland Security Intelligence as his job to get a loan that he financed against a house that he rent for $165,000. So he fraudulently said that he was Homeland Security Intelligence to get a loan.
Okay.
Even though he's not. He's an IT guy that has a business that I guess he's filed bankruptcy under and is under this crazy investigation. So that's CIA. So
Cars International A.
So he gets 200 and I might be a little bit off on this, but he gets $283,000. Out of that $283,000 at the end of the court hearings, he gives $165,000 back for the loan. The remaining money was wire transferred by his wife, was wire transferred in January 2017 to Pakistan from a credit union.
Okay.
His wife, Hanai, LV, at the same time was leaving the country. He's been arrested at this point. He gets arrested for fraud.
What for fraud? Okay.
For saying that this is what mainstream media says, that he was arrested for fraud. But we know that he wasn't just arrested for fraud. He was arrested for all this computer scandal, for having DNC, having keylogger downloaded onto his thing. And this friend that I forgot to mention, this friend also worked in the House of Representatives office, and they found that the whole thing had been bugged, and he was the IT guy that worked in there, and he has zero IT experience. So that guy was fucked as well. Okay. But all the brothers and, Imran get out on bail within 6 days. They bail out. Everybody goes back to Pakistan. And immediately, not only do they go back to Pakistan, but they begin working with the minister of Iran.
Okay, what does that mean? That's a big statement. They go back to Pakistan. They begin working with, like, what, in what capacity? Like,
they take money from the Iran minister tied to Hezbollah. They sent government devices to him, and they have tracked him to having several meetings. He's wanted. They're all wanted.
Minister. Okay, so who are they wanted by, and minister of what? Like,
it says that so they disappeared after they went on bail. They disappeared to Pakistan. They were wanted. They were seen or or they were tracked to Egypt, and then they lost tracking of them until they popped back up in a meeting. They have photo and video of him having a meeting with the Iran minister tied to Hezbollah, where they exchanged government devices from Pakistan.
They basically sold it.
They basically sold our government information
to Iran.
To Iran. Yeah. Okay.
That's pretty typical, man. Like within the that's typical with the intelligence, when this guy could be completely in his own and got what he wants, and he knows there's a price for certain information, and Iran will absolutely open the door for you if you got information yet willing to provide. They'll buy it, they'll pay for it.
So while he's out on bail, they're all trying to flee. His wife ends up getting arrested at the airport. And the way she gets arrested is she gets arrested by customs because she was carrying $12,000 in cash that she was trying to conceal. And she also had with her their 3 children, numerous boxes containing household goods and clothing. It was clear that she was not intending on coming back to the United States, but there was no explanation on why she was even allowed to leave. She was not on this list, on this no-fly list, even though none of them were. That's how they all were able to just fly out and leave.
That was another question, is like, well, how the heck are these people that are part of criminal proceedings now allowed to just hop on a plane and go to Pakistan?
So because she tried to leave and they caught her, they didn't catch her because she wasn't allowed to leave. They caught her because she had more than $10,000 in cash and she didn't report it, which is a felony. So they were able to take her and get back to Imran Awan, and they arrested both of them. Now, remember, Imran he has access to Wasserman Schultz's iPad. He presumably also had access to incriminating Hillary Clinton emails. He also used a laptop in her office that was, according to investigators, concealed in an unused crevice, which we already talked about. And this is all being examined by police, but Wasserman Schultz tried strenuously to recover it before it could be looked at. She pressured the chief of Capitol Police, Matthew Verdosa, to return it, threatened him by saying, "You should expect that there will be consequences." Now, I looked further into this and I talked to some Capitol Police officers who were able to tell me the whole story of this. But she brought up in a Congress meeting that was an on-the-record meeting. And I watched the meeting and I watched the entire YouTube video, and you can YouTube it, Wasserman Schultz, as she bullies the Capitol Police. You could actually just type those words in. And she brings up that she wants this laptop back that they found that was connected to the servers.
Okay. Hey, Eli, UPP, will you write this down for me to remember to go get this? So we'll put this in the description too. We'll link to this so that you can see it.
The person leading this meeting says, Congresswoman, we should talk about this off record. And she says, no, I want to know why I can't have my computer back. And they're like, because we'll talk about it off record. She demands him to talk about it now. And he's saying, because it's tied to an investigation that is the scope of the investigation is much bigger than just it's belonging to you and you own it and you get to have it back. She's like, is it connected to a crime? He's like, not at this time. And she says, but it is a delegate computer. He said, yes, it is. She says, where in the books does it say that you can hold a delegate's computer without there being a crime? And he's saying, we'll talk about this, but it is tied to the scope is bigger. What he's saying is that computer cracked this entire case of leaked information going to her iPad. And she was also dismissed for having emails that directly colluded and conspired to get Bernie Sanders out of the runnings for Hillary Clinton. And he's like saying this to her, like, hey, bitch, you know what the fuck? I can't give you this third. But she's playing this game for the media, trying to retard the situation. She never gets the computer back. But anyway, there's another odd connection of Imran Awan that goes back to the circle around prominent non-conservative Paul Wolfowitz during the Iraq War. In late 2002 and early 2003, Wolfowitz regularly met secretly with a group of Iraqi ex-patriots who resided in Washington area and were opponents of the Saddam Hussein regimen. regime. The Iraqis had not been in their country of birth for many years, but they claimed to have regular contact with well-informed family members and political allies. The Iraqi advisors provided Wolfowitz with a non-familiar refrain, i.e., that the Iraqi people would rise up to support invading Americans and overthrow the hated Saddam. They would greet their liberators with bouquets of flowers and shouts of joy. The Iraqis were headed by Dr. Ali al-Adar, born in Baghdad to Iranian parents in 1963, graduate of Beirut, whatever. And if you keep going down, Imran has very close ties to those guys. Like, they're all besties. Now, guess who else Imran is seen in many, many pictures with? A guy named, no, this is even crazy. A guy named Seth Rich. Now, if you don't know who Seth Rich is, and now this is in July 2016.
He looks like his name is Cooper.
2016.
Cooper.
You look like Kevin.
So this is all in
Chad.
this time frame. Let me read you. This is coming from Wiki. All right.
He's cracking open a couple of crispy boys there on the weekends. He doesn't. I don't know. Do you think he drinks White Claw? Definitely not hard AF, right?
No. Dude,
Anyway,
they're all politicians. They're all pussies. Okay, so if anybody doesn't know who Seth Rich is, on Sunday, July 10th, 2016 at 4:20 a.m. In Bloomingdale neighborhood of Washington, D.C., which Rich died 1 hour and a half after being shot twice in the back. He was murdered by unknown perpetrators for unknown reasons, but police suspect that he had been the victim of attempted robbery. Now listen to this. The 27-year-old Rich was an employee
in his home.
No, this was taking a walk in D.C.
Okay.
Remember, he was the one that was taking the walk, I guess, like maybe near the monument. I don't know. You have to look up Bloomingdale. It was a really nice neighborhood. It's low crime area. Very, very weird.
DC?
Very odd.
Nice.
In DC.
I've seen two homeless dudes in like underwear fighting as I walked to get breakfast in DC before.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
So, but
it was like right outside my front door at the Airbnb, like walk out and it was like, I should go get some coffee this morning. What a nice day. Oh, look, that's funny. Two homeless dudes taking swings on each other. And the cops were nearby. They were like half a block away, just sitting in their car. They're like, yeah, that's normal.
Yeah, it's fucking, they're probably politicians that were just out like partying.
We don't get involved until at least both parties are naked.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So he was shot twice in the back for unknown reasons. Now, at this time, the 27-year-old Rich was an employee of the Democratic National Committee, and his murder spawned several right-wing conspiracy theories, including the false claim contradicted by law enforcement branches that investigated the murder that Rich had been involved with the leaked DNC emails of 2016 in July. Now, that week of that murder, he has a picture where Imran is standing with him in the back of a group at the apex of the Imran investigation, because Imran is going to be arrested in July on July 24th. So this guy was shot on July 16th. Imran is arrested on July 24th for leakings of emails.
It just so happens to be that he took two to the back.
To the back for unknown reasons, and they never caught the suspect. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is where
that's what we call in the business a clue.
Now look, I didn't pull this from any conspiracy. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. I don't have time. I have 4 kids. I run a distillery. I don't have time to do this. This is all just stuff that I accumulated on my own from reading into this
in the span of like 48 hours.
In the span of 48 hours, and I feel like a crazy person, because I didn't know who any of these people are. And now all of a sudden I'm personally linking all of these names together in a very weird string of events.
And we haven't even gotten to the guys that are like, we're talking about, like, this is just like the background.
So,
and kudos to Dead Leg Media, by the way, who says, are you a spy? Are you a spy that can't sleep at night? You should be sleeping on a ghost bed.
So, which is really funny. And you were right on the thing. You should be a podcaster, because now that I'm talking about Seth and his very weird murder, that is why you should have Policy Genius.
Yes, I love it. You tell them
Policy,
about Policy Genius. I'm going to take a leak. I love you.
Policy Genius is, you never know when you're going to go, baby. You never know when you're going to go. And Policy Genius is an insurance, is not an insurance company. They are a marketplace that helps insurance shoppers understand their options, compare quotes across multiple companies, over multiple companies, and they buy a policy all in one place. If you, right now, the promo code for this is going to be policygenius.com/wolfpack. How this all works is, and it's worked for me, Policy Genius, your one-stop shop to find the insurance you need at the right price. Go ahead and click the link in our little profile at the bottom of this podcast on YouTube or iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get it. It's going to be policygenius.com/wolfpack. All you have to do is answer a few questions. It's a 5-minute survey, couple of pages, nothing hard. And you could save 50% or more on life insurance by comparing quotes with Policy Genius. The team of licensed experts at Policy Genius are on hand through the entire process to help you understand your options and make decisions with confidence. The Policy Genius team work for you, not the insurance company. Whether you're just starting to shop or you have questions about your active policy, they're your independent advocates offering unbiased advice. They don't have extra fees. They don't sell your info to third parties. They have thousands of 5-stars review across Google. Policy Genius has options that offer coverage in as little as a week to avoid unnecessary medical exams. And since 2014, Policy Genius has helped over 30 million people shop for insurance and place over $120 billion in coverage. Head to policygenius.com/wolfpack and get your free life insurance quote and see how much you could save. Guys, we wouldn't have put this on there if it wasn't really important. If you're first responders, you guys are probably getting raked over the coals by your insurance providers coming through your agencies or whatever. Take the time, do the survey, and compare the life insurance quotes. Because for me, I saved a fuck ton of money. I saved almost 50%. Wasn't quite 50%, but it was very close with the same coverage on my life insurance. So it's a really great company. It makes it very simple to shop. So I hope and I pray that Seth Rich had really good life insurance for his family's sake. That is a tragic story. So all this is happening at the same time, which makes me feel like a crazy person at this point. What we have going on now is some Pakistani felon that makes his way all the way to the White House, who is employed by Debbie Schultz, who at the same time as Debbie Schultz, and she has this whole computer server issue with Imran, she now finds herself and these wiki links as being the head of all of the emails that link her to conspiring with Hillary Clinton to get Bernie Sanders out.
Right.
We never got to see any of the other emails from Hillary Clinton's computer because they were destroyed. And as I did more research, that
I wouldn't have Imran had copies of that.
Well, we're going to get to that. Also, also Debbie Schultz never got her computer back, and the information on her computer has never been released. She wants that computer back, and about every congressional meeting, there's several in this very strange email wiki links that I went through, several emails of her demanding to get this computer back and demanding that this witch hunt over Imran Awan be ended immediately. Which shortly after that, if you look up Imran Awan on any kind of YouTubes or news stories from Fox and CNN, the left portrayed this as a anti-Muslim witch hunt and a crazy Trump conspiracy over a string of nonsensical, and they use some kind of word like wowsical. It's a fake word, but basically it's a fake word. It's like wowsical, like they're like whimsical, but they use wowsical, like as in like it's so outlandish that this is just another outlandish Trump.
It's just one big fake sickle.
Right. Like when Trump said,
take a big old lick of that, Trump.
Yes.
Lick your fake sickle.
The whole thing gets covered up. All of this gets covered up as a misuse of funds by this Muslim. And all the news articles were about how anti-Muslim Trump was and that this was an anti-Muslim witch hunt. But never once did any of the media disclose how much this Muslim, I guess, I don't think it has anything to do with religion, I would say this Pakistani, how much information and how many strikes he has against them. So he's collected over $283,000 illegally by claiming that he was Homeland Security. He has servers with keylogger. He's wiretapped and put video camera, some kind of camera feed up in the House of Representatives. He has traded. They have proof that he traded equipment to Pakistan at the time. And it's just
Not
this
bad for a fast food
massive,
worker.
massive debacle. And now we have this murder that's taken place of Seth only days after. Remember, we're only days after
Being
this
seen in the photo with Imran.
Imran, and only days after the investigation started. So this is all very crazy to me. And long story short, nothing has happened to this guy at all. And nothing has happened to Debbie Schultz. She just has gone on about her business. She's still trying to get this laptop back. And all of this has to do with WikiLeaks. Now, let's get in.
Irman today. Is it
Irman?
I mean, what's his name again?
Imran is. I believe. Maybe one of our guys can fact check me on this one.
Pull that name's up, Elijah.
I feel that he is gone. I think he has left.
Photos.
But in September 1st, 2017, he pleaded not guilty to all the charges.
Imran Awan.
The investigation concluded in 2018 with Imran pleading guilty to making a false statement on a bank loan application. Awan had filed a loan application in the name of his wife, Haina Alvi, with property as equity, but falsely claimed that the property in question was Alvi's primary residence when it was in fact being rented out by Alvi. Awan's attorney said that Awan made the false statement in order to obtain the loan quickly so that he could quickly transfer money to relatives in Pakistan to help his father, who was gravely ill and living in Virginia. On August 21st, 2018, District Judge Tanya Shudkin sentenced Awan to time served plus 3 months of supervision. So he was in jail for less than a year.
Where is he now?
I don't know.
What I found
Probably
on
back in Pakistan.
what it says on some documents on .gov that his location is to be determined.
There you go.
Probably
Very
back to Pakistan and probably got a bigger house over there. People working for him and living his life.
Okay, so we have this massive hack here that just happened with lots of emails. Now, look, I put this together myself, and maybe I'm fucking crazy. You guys tell me in the comments how crazy I am for all this. But this all has to do with emails, passwords, and IT stuff. Now, let's hear
from the commenters. Sure, of course, or the listeners can weigh in on this, or argue with their friends about it. But Hamidi, from what you've heard so far, how probable or not probable is
it's about to get a lot crazier.
We're hearing so far.
This is about to get a lot crazier, and it's all about to make sense. I know I sound crazy right now, but I promise you I'm going to tie it all in here in a minute. But go ahead, Hamidi.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, man. You have to understand that here as a country, as Americans, especially our government in DC, is extremely exposed. You would think that we have all these intelligence agencies that somehow we are able to control the infiltration of foreign intelligence into our country. Look, you have to go deep into this and study the American people psychologically and understands what Americans think about the most every single day. And when you come to think about what's the average American dream in America, is everybody wants to be rich. Every single person wants to be rich, wants to be accomplished financially. So foreign intelligence have found such an easy way to get into DC. And when I tell you this, I'm someone myself who been to Washington, DC. Perhaps I consider Washington, D.C. the most dangerous place beside Iraq that I've been to. Some of the most dangerous terrorists that came out of the United States were radicalized in that area. The amount of lobbyists that works for foreign intelligence are, when you go into our world and try to see how people trying to infiltrate. I mean, look, this is one of thousands are trying to infiltrate into information. And some of them find it easy. Some of them go way deeper than this guy, way deeper than Imran. I mean, this is nothing that he stole hard drives and information, probably information that belongs to the intelligence committee, and then he was able to go and sell it to Iran. And that is nothing compared to the other damages. You always got to have to go and look through the history, how much damages were done in DC. How many agents, how many people with top secret clearance has been exposed and has been exposed to foreign intelligence. And there is a chaos that going on in DC that somehow we can't control it, because this is the football field for all lobbyists and foreign intelligence operatives to come into our country and tap into our country or our classified information. How do they do this? They do this through the politicians. The politicians are the best bridge for any foreign intelligence entities that wants to tap into your country. And you'll be shocked. And I have said this before. This guy was able to cause damage on his own by stealing whatever. I'm going to say this in your show, and this is going to sound really, really, really like weird, right? The most dangerous weapon any foreign intelligence entity have used, especially Russia, in Washington, D.C., called pussy.
Yeah.
And they infiltrate extremely well with it. And there is history of ladies been involved with politicians that were able to get crazy amount of information, top secret, all kind of stuff.
Well, General Petraeus was fired because of pussy.
I mean, that's like, there is many stories that will make you really make your blood boil on how this country is so exposed and how information goes out so fast. And I can assure you, you cannot do that in Russia. You cannot do that in Iran. So do you see the difference here? Do you see the problem that we're having? Is that if you go to Iran right now, this will be next to mission impossible for you to tap into an Iranian politician. That will be far from what you here. It's almost like it's an open tap. You can just show up and you can just shoot your shot and you can try and do it. And by the way, you didn't look into Imran. How did Imran come into this country? The one question, Imran came to this country through one thing is called the green card lottery. That is one of the worst program America have ever created. And I can tell you personally, I have met individuals who carry such a hate for the United States were able to get into this program from different countries, Morocco, Egypt, people with a very, very radical view where winning green cards come into this country. And you look at
Lebanon.
Yeah, and you can look into it. What are we doing to, like, in all honesty? I mean, I like to be very fair what I present. In all honesty, we have thousands of Afghan interpreters who gave us years of service, getting blown up, getting shot at. And we weren't really sure about giving them the visas right away. We had to put them through hell, background checks, Homeland Security background checks for 4 months, fingerprinting, questioning, 3 interviews. And these people go through hell to get here. Meanwhile, we have a program out there that anybody can go play the lottery and they can win the green card and immediately they can come to this country.
And then you can work in the White House.
And you can work on the outside. And
all the way at the top and be a convicted felon. So where is the breakdown?
And I asked an individual who actually won this, got through this program. There might be a way they know how to win it, how to win this green card. And there might be a way that they sent you this guy indirectly telling you that, hey, he won the green card. And there might be a way they hacked into that lottery system and got you to send you this guy to cause all this damages. And now he's out in Pakistan meeting with the Iranians. And I can guarantee you that this individual either works for the Pakistani intelligence, either works for other foreign intelligence in the area like the Iranians or so. And I can guarantee you he sold this information to the Iranians, and the Iranians were gladly to give that transaction to him.
Sure.
But it's not, are we really surprised that this is happening? No, man, it happens all
the time. It is a little bit surprising because this case may in itself not be, but when I link it to this case that I'm about to be, I think it does.
All right, take us downfield here.
I think it does become crazy. I think, okay, so now let's remember everything we talked about, Imran. Keep that in the back of your brain, all right? Now I'm going to switch gears and tell another story. All right, so this starts in February, from the beginning as early February 2020. I'm basically, for time's sake, I'm going to read mostly off of the affidavit because I think the affidavit was really well written, and I think it paints a good story of what went down just recently. Now this case that we're talking about today happened 8 days ago. Yesterday, these men were released from jail yesterday on bail. Okay.
What was the bail set at? Do you have that?
I don't have that. You can look it up while I'm talking. Because it just happened like last night is when I got the information.
Okay.
Actually, I got the information at about 9:30 last night from.
It will be paid. Someone's going to pay.
It's crazy. These guys get bail, but Cain Velasquez gets none.
Okay. Yep. Exactly. It's going to get even crazier. So remember when we talked about Imran, all the brothers, right? That were, they all went back to Pakistan. They're gone.
Mm-hmm.
They disappeared. And so did this friend that I don't get to know his name because it's not in any of these documents, that also was in the House of Representatives that actually wiretapped the House of Representatives for audio. Now, I want you to think about how crazy that is. Don't forget about how crazy. Imagine having all the passwords to 30 congressmen to be able to have access to all of their emails. That's insanity. That is a fuck ton of information. Lots of information. Now, but what can you do with that information? You got to have some kind of boots on the ground, right? I don't know. But this case starts in February 2020. So we've ended in February 2018, and now we're at February 2020. So within 2 years. So this is the way the summary of this case works: is that as from the beginning, as early as February 2020, Taharzada and Ali have been falsely assuming and pretending to be officers or employees acting under the authority of the United States government, specifically the Department of Homeland Security, and have acted as such. So the players in this story, they have for 2 years duped everybody in DC and everybody around them, including Secret Service agents who are directly attached to Jill Biden. They are on Jill Biden's personal security detachment, plain-clothed personal security detachment. These guys in 2 years, under the ruse of being Homeland Security Intelligence, make it to being very close friends with a Secret Service agent who is going to be a witness in this case. And he is the personal security detachment team for Jill Biden. Okay. So, Taharzada and Ali have represented themselves as such to numerous people, many of whom the members of federal law enforcement agencies. And further of their false and fraudulent conduct, Taharzada and Ali obtained paraphernalia with insignias and firearms, including handguns, assault rifles, used by law enforcement officers. So I'm going to fast forward through this. I am reading off of the affidavit. So this is not hearsay. This isn't something that we pulled off of the media. This isn't mainstream media. This is the affidavit. This is on the warrant for arrest. On March 14th, 2022, a United States postal inspector responded to blank, it's been redacted, in Washington, D.C. to investigate an alleged assault involving a United States Postal Service letter carrier. The apartment complex located at blank is large and contains multiple units on several floors. During the course of the investigation, the postal inspector learned from individuals living at the apartment complex that two individuals, Aryan Taharzada and Haider Ali, represent themselves as Department of Homeland Security investigation special agents. They were witnesses to this assault on a postal inspector. Does that make sense? You following?
I think so.
Okay. So basically a postal inspector gets assaulted, and these two dudes with credentials show up as Homeland Security investigating agents, come and actually help out with the investigation. The inspector then interviewed Taharzada and Ali. They identified themselves as investigators with the U.S. Special Police Investigations Unit. Ali identified as the United States Special Police Investigations Unit and Department of Homeland Security. Furthermore, Ali identified Taharzada as an HSI special agent. Taharzada and Ali identified themselves as deputized special police with the city government of District of Columbia. Taharzada and Ali claimed to be involved in undercover gang-related investigations, as well as conducting investigations related to violence at the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021. So they're witnesses to an assault when they're, so anytime you're a witness, they're going to ask you who you are, how old you are, what your employment is, All the
So
questions.
this is the first time they pop up on the radar
that
we know of.
Actually, it's not the first time, but this is the first time in this affidavit. Actually, the first time is going to be in another case where they duped Metro Police and Capitol Police, and I was actually able to talk to Capitol Police, and they were to give them the explanation, which is completely genuine, and I think any cop would fall for it. But yes, as we know it in this case,
are you going to tell about that or no?
I am.
Okay.
It's going to come into play. This is all very crazy. I'm so sorry. All right. The U.S. The postal inspector also learned from other residents at this apartment complex that Tasada and Ali utilized several apartments in the complex. So they rent several apartments in the complex. Now, I did some research on this on the complex. The complex is not. I wasn't able to find the name, but through the other affidavits and piecing together the evidence collected, none of these rooms that they have rented were under $40,000 a year. So the rooms that they were attached to were all between $40,000 and $48,000 a year to rent. And they have multiple. Okay. At least 3. They have at least 3, but I think there was 5. But anyway, Tasahada told the residents that these apartments were being paid for by Department of Homeland Security. That's what he's telling the postal inspector. The inspector was also informed that both individuals utilize a black GMC SUV and described it as thereof an official DHS vehicle. According to the residents, this vehicle is equipped with emergency lights. Okay, so they have a Govy vehicle blacked out with lights. The inspector also was informed by residents.
Was it a real vehicle or was it something that they outfit? I know, but what I'm saying is, like, did they somehow abscond with a true vehicle or did they just convert one to make it?
That's a great question.
Like
it's a question that I asked, and my 48 hours of panic and just doing something I've never done before, which is this real journalism. I was not able to find where they acquired any of this equipment. Now I'm going to talk about a lot of equipment here, and it is not there is no information on where they got this equipment, and it doesn't seem like anybody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
But I give a fuck, and I think you guys will give a fuck in a minute.
Yeah, for sure.
The USPS inspector was also informed that the residents that Tasahada and Ali have video surveillance set up in various parts of the apartment complex. Furthermore, Tasahada and Ali represented to the residents at the apartment complex that they can access at any time the cellular telephones of residents of the apartment complex. These residents stated that they believe that Tasahada and Ali had access to personal information of all of the residents at the apartment complex. Now, I called I'm allowed to say it. I called a former Navy SEAL who was on the blacker side of Navy SEAL stuff. He was on an intel team that is highly classified intel team, which is really funny that I'm talking about it, but I don't care because nobody's going to know who this guy is. I was able to get in contact with this guy and who may have lived in this particular building, unconfirmed. I don't know because I don't have the name of the building, but this man who I worked with on another operation training mission years and years and years ago, he lived in a building that was full of Secret Service, FBI, other government agencies, and Navy DOD. And they trade the apartment out. I've actually visited that particular place. I went to his. And the way it works is that they are given an apartment, and when their tour of duty is over in DC, another SEAL in a team moves into that apartment and establishes it as theirs.
It's sort of like government housing, sort of.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it's a private place, but basically the government blocks off these rooms and moves people in and out.
Now, how I got this information was from a funny story. Is I was talking to this friend. He didn't volunteer any classified information to me or anything like that, but he went through some problems because in the house was a red thong left behind by some former SEALs that lived there in that room. And he knew that all the men that were in there before were married.
Yeah.
And known that wives aren't allowed there. So he wanted to call me to ask what I would do ethically about that, because they've had people in that room that probably weren't supposed to be in that room.
I would not call me. Leave me alone. Goodbye.
Well,
I don't know
think
who
I'm-
this
I'm-
is. La 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 la.
Yeah, well, I think I'm so far detached from military. I was a cop at the time. I'm a Raleigh cop at the time. So I think it was kind of like a fair, like, okay, I know he's not going to go to any internal affairs on my end. He wouldn't even know where to start.
Sure.
So I felt like, and I think ethically, I think he did the right thing. I said the right thing to do is always the right thing to do. It doesn't matter who you burn. Snitches always get riches. Fucking do your thing. So anyway, that's how I knew about an apartment complex similar to this. Now, I never went up to that guy's room, but I met him in DC. I met him in DC at this complex at the lower floor. And at the lower of the floor is a SEAL Team 6 gift shop. So that's how tied in this apartment complex is.
What?
I'm fucking serious. It's not just, I called it a SEAL Team 6 gift shop, but it had everything. It had like CIA cups, FBI t-shirts, stickers, like
Candy bars here. Get your Jocko candy bars.
yes, this is a known spot. Now, I'm only guessing that this is the same spot in this case because of the way it's portrayed in this affidavit, but those kind of places do exist. So now you have these two guys that are surrounded by, now look, here's what the affidavit says about what I just told you. The USPS inspectors determined that Tassada and Ali were regular contact with several members of the United States Secret Service who also reside at blank address. Their USSS agents, Secret Service agents, were members of both the uniform and protection divisions. The inspector learned that Tahazada and Ali had provided gifts to the Secret Service agents and their families, including, among other things, the use of their GMC alleged government SUV. Additionally, Tahazada offered to provide a rifle to the Secret Service member valued at approximately $2,000. The U.S. Postal Inspector also provided the information to DHS Officer of Inspector General, which then referred the information to Federal Bureau of Investigation for further investigation. It was at this point the FBI began its investigation with corroborated statements of residents obtained by the USPS inspector. Witness 1 lives at blank, same apartment, Washington, D.C. Witness 1 is not employed by
All this information is being uncovered because of a postal inspector investigator.
Right, which if you've ever heard if you want to go into a further rabbit hole, if you look at the case of the Silk Road, that was also uncovered by a postal inspector, a rookie at that.
Interesting. Okay. Fascinating.
Okay. Witness 1. In around July 2021, Tahzad represented to Witness 1 that he was a special agent with Homeland Security Investigations. Tahzad represented that Ali was affiliated with HSI, but had no arrest powers. Witness 1, Tahzada's DHS showed him that his badge, as well as credentials from, basically showing badge and credentials. Witness 1 observed Tahzada carrying a firearm concealed on his person. While in the apartment controlled and maintained by Tahzada, Witness 1 observed computer equipment, surveillance equipment, and many servers. Jimmy, how many servers do you need in an apartment?
None.
No, really? You don't need a server?
No.
What would you use many servers for?
A very large amount of information to be brought in and dispatched back out, to store information, to receive information, to disseminate information.
Okay. So if
We've got
somebody
like 40 servers here at the office.
Yeah, I have 12 at home just to run my DVR for all the shows that I watch.
Are you serious?
No.
I don't even know what a server is.
No.
I don't even know what a server is.
I go to Golden Corral for servers.
How many servers do you have? Seriously,
I tip my server as well. That's all I know.
He has no servers.
Okay, he has no servers.
I have no servers.
The Apple Store.
Commies don't serve.
The Apple Store at South Point had 10 servers, and that's a store. You know what I mean?
I've got
10
one.
servers.
I've got one server for video editing. That's it.
Okay. Well, these guys had many servers. All right.
Many or mini?
A lot of.
So many, not tiny
many.
servers.
No, a lot of servers.
Plethora
They had a large
of services.
Plethora, of
Plethora,
servers.
if you will.
They
Okay.
then, Tahzada also showed Witness 1 Homeland Security investigation case files of a person that Tahzada was working on. The case file was marked confidential. Tahzada recruited the witness to serve as an employee and to help him with this investigation, according to Witness 1, because he or she believed that Tahzada was an employee of HSI. He agreed, she, because they're not going to tell you, agreed to pursue the DHS HSI employment through him. Sahada represented that he had stated the process of hiring witness one was as an employee, and that he also had authority to deputize individuals as employees of DHS HSI. Now, let's say you're another government agency, and I know this sounds crazy the way it's worded, but I have worked with U.S. Marshals. I've been temporarily sworn in to other agencies to work other cases. Mike, have you ever done anything like that as well?
No, I mean, but that happened commonly, like at our department. You know,
I feel like it happens a lot.
Yeah. The federal government doesn't have enough boots on the ground usually to get everything done that it's committed to doing, and so they utilize local law enforcement. And
I should have worded that better. I should have worded that better. What I should have said is, have you ever had other government agencies come in that were kind of sworn in under your department to go and carry out their duties?
Well, they wouldn't need to be sworn into under ours, but they would coordinate with us and utilize local law enforcement. Like, oh, the DEA is hitting a house. They need 3 uniformed guys to do X, Y, Z. So you're being assigned to the DEA.
Right. And I guess, and I know that happens a lot, but like, for instance, that case in Atlanta when they kidnapped the DA's father from Raleigh and went down and had him in a gang house inside of Atlanta. Our officers from Raleigh PD, our detective division guys went down there for that. It was FBI HRT, but they went down there, were temporarily actually sworn in through Atlanta PD so they could be a part of the operation.
Yes.
So that happens.
Yeah, I understand.
My point being is it's not that weird that if you're another government agency and Homeland Security investigations team says, I'm working a case, here's the case file, I'm working on this, you have the opportunity to gain information on this, I'm going to deputize you and hire you on through HSI and have you fill out these applications and get this paperwork started so that you can be official and I can obtain information from you. If you put it that way, it's not that strange. But if you read it like this, as a civilian, you might be like, oh, this witness one sounds like a real dum-dum. Like, doesn't have to go to the academy or anything. No, it happens. All right.
Yeah.
So during witness one had to go through a recruiting process where they utilized an airsoft rifle. And they use this to evaluate their reaction time and quote pain tolerance. Now that seems a little weird, but according to witness one, because he or she believed that this was part of DHS HSI recruiting process, he agreed to be shot and subsequently was shot by Sahadi during the shooting. Ali was actually present. So it sounds like they were probably doing some kind of stress test. But
yeah, so what they're doing, they're not necessarily impersonating cops in the sense of like they weren't getting assignments from higher ups. They were just posing this way and working their way in with people at the highest levels.
Right. And showing up to investigations and just kind of being there. So you're like, oh, DHS is here. Cool.
Yeah, and quite honestly, the way our government works, like if I was on the street in a patrol car working a case, and what appears to be a G-Ride pulls up, and a couple of guys get out, they tin me, right, and they show their IDs and they start talking. If they're communicating, hey man, we're with Homeland Security investigations and XYZ. I don't know how much I don't know how much digging I'm gonna do, to be honest with you.
I don't know that I've ever done any digging. I mean, I've had marshals show up at warrants that I've served, and I've
seen FBI, DEA, U.S. Marshals, like different investigative divisions.
In DC, you've got Metropolitan PD, you got Capitol PD, you got Secret Service.
If you guys aren't aware,
FBI,
as listeners,
OGA.
I think in DC, underpaid producer, if you could look this up, how many law enforcement agencies exist in Washington D.C.? It's over 60.
Yes. So
it's massive, and
you wouldn't be able to memorize everybody's credentials.
You just flop 3 letters out of your mouth and tell them that you're a cop, and it's believable.
So there we go. Now let's talk about witness. So that was just witness one. That's kind of harmless, right? They try to recruit him. They show him a case file. Now, of course, we're not getting all the information on who that case file was on. That's not in here. Why they wanted to recruit this specific person, what ties that person. I'd like to go ahead and throw this out really quick. If you are a true crime and you're passionate about our podcast, this could be an opportunity to collaborate with Mike the Cop and Eric Tansey. If you would like, I would love to do a full breakdown on this. Reach out to us in the DMs on Failure to Stop Instagram. and let us know what you could maybe offer experience-wise or whatever. And maybe there's a chance that we might work with you to do some investigating of our own and do another story on this later at time. Send us a DM and let us know that you're interested, and we'll take a look at that. Obviously, we're going to do a better job at making sure people are legit than everybody else because of this case. But so let me go back to this affidavit here. Witness 2 is a U.S. Secret Service agent currently assigned to the first fucking lady. It doesn't say that in the affidavit, but it says assigned to the first lady protection detail. And he lives at the same apartment complex in Washington, D.C. On July 4th, 2021, Witness 2 was introduced to Taha Saada, who represented that he was Homeland Security investigation agent and that Ali was his HSI analyst. Although Saada was very outspoken about his job with HSI, he claimed that he was part of a covert task force. According to Witness 2, which is the Secret Service guy, Saada made it clear that he is the go-to guy if a resident needs anything in the building. Taha Saada provided gifts or favors for residents, many of whom were members of law enforcement, including the FBI, the Secret Service, and Department of Homeland Security, or employees of government agencies, including the Department of Defense and the Navy. All right, that's where I tied in my Navy thing. For instance, Taha Saada previously loaned out his government vehicle, that's in parentheses, or that's in quotes, to Witness 2's wife, and also provided her with a generator. Taha Saada offered to provide Witness 2 an AR-15 rifle that is valued at $2,000. Witness 2 confirmed that Taha Saada and Ali both lived at that address. Witness 2 stated that Ali lives in a separate apartment on the same floor, but just below Taha Saada. Witness 2 noted that Saada's primary apartment has numerous security cameras. Saada has shown Witness 2 security footage from various areas of the apartment complex, indicating that he had gained access to the security system for the entire apartment complex. Subsequent investigation revealed that many residents in this apartment complex are affiliated with federal law enforcement agencies. Now, did you track that, boys?
No.
You didn't track that? So Taha Saada lives above Ali, one floor above. Taha Saada's apartment, Witness 2, who's a Secret Service agent, has seen cameras and footage of the entire apartment complex that was inside of Tahada's apartment.
Okay.
This apartment complex is nothing but DOD, Secret Service, FBI, whatever.
Navy SEALs.
That's a pretty big fucking deal.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you they have tapped every single department.
That's a huge fucking deal.
Yeah.
And he's showing the Secret Service member who is personally attached to Jill Biden. All right. So Witness 2 noted that Saada's primary apartment. Okay, we already talked about that. Subsequent investigation revealed that many residents in the apartment complex are affiliated with fellow law enforcement. We've covered that. In furtherance of his efforts to represent himself to be a member of DHS and HSI, Saada sent Witness 2 a photo in his HSI vest. If you pop that up there, you can see a picture of him in his vest. Witness 2 was also seen several other photos of Saada in police tactical gear. There's more pictures coming up.
At least he's masked up. I mean, that's really like what matters to me.
In his apartment. Saada sent Witness 2 several photos of police gear in the apartment. On the first photo, Pelican cases, firearms, knee pads, all the things. You can put those pictures up there if you got them. February 22nd, Saada sent Witness 2 pictures of what Saada claimed to be an HSI in-service training. Investigator revealed that the photo Saada sent in stock photo from the internet, and there is no record that Saada participated in HSI training. So this is what I find is very interesting. So Saada is in a text message feed with this Secret Service agent who protects Jill Biden. And in one of the text messages, he sends like some bullshit text about how badass HSI is, and he's flexing his tattoos wearing a tack vest. Then he sends this message to him, where he's like, "What are you doing today?" And he was like, just some more HSI bullshit. And he sends a picture of him being in in-service training. Now, we've all been to in-service training. That seems like a very plausible thing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So he sends him this picture. Come to find out in this investigation that it is a stock photo. Now, while Tazada's primary resident, witness 2 saw federal law enforcement training center certificates hanging on his wall. Pretty interesting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's very thoughtful to hang
Yeah,
up.
it sounds. I
because
mean,
what cop doesn't
you're
have
gonna,
credentials
if-
hanging on his wall?
Yeah, I mean, if you're in that world, what would be easy to tell, right? Like, I could tell a fake cop. Now it's harder for me as a beat cop guy to recognize a fake government guy. That would be harder, but I would be able to spot a local fake cop within seconds. Like, depending on the uniform,
The
way
patches.
things.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, there's certain things about like how everyone wears their gear or what kind of gear they have on. Like, there's a lot of little indicators from a uniform perspective that if somebody tried to tell me they were from like two jurisdictions up and they're like, hey, we're here to do whatever, I'd be like, no, who are you? Like that, like, yeah.
There's
what do you got going on
a
here?
way to talk the talk, and it's much like the military, right? Like, we're able to pick out stolen valor really quickly. If you're not able to pick up with the lingo, oh, I was with the 151st Air Aviation Marine Corps Regiment, and you're like, what the fuck did you just say? Like, you're able to kind
Pop
of
that on, yeah.
squash it out. Now, in this case, these guys are doing a really good job. They even have training certificates hanging on their apartment wall, which, fuck, dude, I know a lot of cheese dick police officers who hang all their training achievements on their fucking wall in their hallways. You go to dinner with your cop buddy. Where's the bathroom? Down the hall to the right, and it's just a fucking wall of certificates and cool guy pictures. By the way, if you're listening to this and you have that in your hallway, well, you know how I feel about it. On multiple occasions in 2021 and 22, witness 2 observed that Hazada was carrying a Glock 19 Generation 5 firearm with a TLR 7A Streamlight flashlight attachment. This is important. Witness 2 also observed that Tazada carrying this firearm concealed with an inside the waistband holster. Tazada told Witness 2 that this was the HSI issued firearm. Witness 2 has seen Tazada wear the firearm in public, outside of the apartment, as well as inside the apartment. On February 2nd, 2022, Witness 2 told Tazada that on February 17th, Witness 2 would be attending U.S. Secret Service's Glock transition course. Witness 2's federal agency was in the process of transitioning from 229 SIG Sauer to Glock 19 Gen 5 as the issued service weapon. And guess what? They were issued with their new Glock 19s. A TSL whatever light system. The same one that this guy already had. That's pretty important there. This guy's already got a Gen 5 Glock with the same
He's
light
probably already
attachment.
seen emails exactly of what's coming. They already know what's coming down the pipe.
Thank you.
I want to emphasize about something Mike mentioned, actually. That was a great point about you are able to spot a fake cop locally because you know what's the local cop look like, how do they dress. Eric had mentioned that they were able to spot someone who was fake in military history, which that happens a lot. You know, I myself ran into a fake SEAL in Raleigh that we busted him out because there was a SEAL database. You can go, people who have access for it, you can go and find out all the SEALs that graduated since the first buds ever created, and you can know who it is. Same thing with cops. You can go in there and find out if this person is a cop or not. However, there is a practice within the intelligence community that is not a healthy practice that we have. And I admit this is actually a practice is not healthy within people who are intelligent operatives who works for the government. And they need to change that. And which I think in the clearance, this has all been updated. This is all lesson learned recently in the last few years based on all the clearance interviews I have done, all this stuff. I have seen the changes that been implemented on how to really avoid this. When it comes to intelligent operative or intelligent agencies, you know, there is no such a thing called database where I can go pull you and you can pull me. That doesn't exist in this world. The second thing, intelligent operatives should be aware already, especially if you have went through the clearance, if you have been grilled in a military base for 2-3 hours at a time in each interview, you should know that you should not ask me which group or which side of the agency were you on. That is like simple one. I run to that all the time. I run to people like literally in the daily basis who actually fake. They might be working for the government, but they are not in the field level. Do you understand what I mean, Mike?
Yeah.
It's like they're not on the field level. Like they could be administrative, they could be in the computer sections, they could be whatever. And you can tell they are not in the field because they run into me and they will ask me a question. Hey man, what group? I was part of this group and this. And they should, if they were real, they should be aware not to. Like, I hate that when people come and like pretend they are pros and they're in the field and they ask me that question and thinking like I'm going to just kind of whisper back to them and I'm going to tell them, look, I'm part of that group and so. And I just look at these people honestly and sometimes I just laugh. And I just feel like this is actually a practice among people who work for the government that these people should be aware that you cannot share or say a word about what you do, regardless of who. When I was operating undercover in Iraq, I was only authorized to speak to one person, one person in the planet that I'm only authorized to speak to. It wasn't two, it wasn't three, it wasn't four, it wasn't a whole collection team. It was a one person, and that's all it was. So when you have this conversations, when Eric talked yesterday, actually, Eric called me in the middle of the night. We were talking about this. When the most important damage that I believe in my heart that these two individuals have caused is what the government hasn't told you what they have done yet. Mm-hmm. They have told you, yes, they pretended to be agent. Yes, they done so-and-so. Only God knows they could have been wiretapping all these apartments, because where do you think most important information gets spit out of a government agent? It's the conversations they're having with their wives at home.
Yep.
That is where you get it. If they didn't do that, only God knows what these agents, based on that theory, thinking they are another government agents, what they have told them about the Secret Service, what other things. And it doesn't have to be something extremely powerful that about Jill Biden or her security. Of course, they're not going to let you feel that they're trying to get information. It could be just basic information how the Secret Service carry themselves.
Right, because that's how would you be able to assassinate Seth Rich if you didn't know? So you've got the intel guys doing the emails. They know that they need to take out this guy that's attached to the DNC because he's going to leak some shit about Hillary Clinton. But we don't, emails aren't going to tell you how to assassinate this guy. But guess who could tell you how to assassinate this guy? Two operators in the apartment complex that can tell you everything about him. He leaves at this time. Exactly. He walks through here. He walks through there. So very interesting that these guys are, and I can see that if that's their job is to literally just pick up intel, and they're very egotistical when you're surrounded by the egos of the likes of three-letter agencies, which they have a huge ego problem. They want you to know that they're a three-letter agency. They give warnings. The watches that they wear, the jewelry, the type of tennis shoes they wear. They always send you indicators that they are of some kind of service, 511 pants or, a Velcro strap here or there. That's why, like, the real operators, the real dudes, the real deal black op guys, they give you no indication that they are ops at all.
Dude, I worked for an intelligence agent who worked for a three-letter agency, probably the highest in the country, in Iraq, and has never told me who we worked for. Never.
He could just be full of shit for all you know.
Never told me who we worked for. So that's why when I meet people and they introduce themselves and they tell me everything, and I'm like, I'm part of that group and so. It just really, I just want to like laugh so hard, and I just keep myself, and I'm like, cool, good for you. That's great.
Yeah.
And
it's been, I've come across in different contexts over the years. Like I'm in a mixed crowd at something, and I'm having this conversation with somebody. This happened a few years ago at a baseball game. I won't say when or where, but I'm at this baseball game, and somebody's like, "Hey, do you know who that is?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I was just talking to him. We were talking about whatever, like just general life stuff. And he's like, yeah, that's somebody that worked on this particular, mission. And yeah, he's like a super high level operator. And I'm like, oh shit, I had no clue. He's like, yeah, I mean, I've been friends with him for a long time. Like, he would never tell you that, he would never tell you this, he did this or that, or who he works for or blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, that's been my experience, that people who operate at the highest levels aren't going around telling you that they operate at the highest levels.
No. And when somebody tells you they work for a three-letter agency, just go ahead and know that they're full of shit.
Yeah.
And that they probably do work for a 4-letter agency, but they probably work in IT for a 3-letter agency. Because if you work for a 3-letter agency, you don't need to tell people you work for a 3-letter agency.
Mike, we know what pissed me off the most about this.
It's mostly ICE. It's always ICE. Sorry, but it's always ICE.
TSA.
You know what pissed me off the most about this situation, truly, is there's also a thing called a lot of people out there in this community, whether it's former veterans, whatever they are. A lot of people come on and says, I'm a former CIA contractor. CIA contractor. What do people, average American, think? Oh, they were CIA.
Right.
For someone like myself, when I see someone says, oh, I was a CIA, I'm an ex so-and-so, I was a Navy SEAL, I was a Special Forces, blah, blah, and I'm now a CIA contractor. What does people think? People think these are CIA agents.
Yeah.
And average Americans don't understand there's a huge difference between someone who works as a security guard or a security contractor for the CIA and a field analyst who is extremely fucking smart.
Yeah.
Extremely. I mean, no offense, most of these former whatever become CIA contractor, call themselves, because they have a third-party contract that contracted with a 3-letter agency, so you can use them for security purpose or whatever. Most of these people don't have the education to be in that field. Right. Analysts are very extremely smart people, man, who understand dynamics of terrorism, dynamics of history, dynamic of politics, of foreign intelligence. And I have been around that breed through my life, and it's extremely different people. But what average American think is they hear everything this get promoted out of whatever security contractor worked with the CIA, and they think this is how all CIA agents are, and it became a culture, man. So that's why I run to this, what's called fake CIA, former CIA operatives that claim to be done so and so and so, and try to compare it with the real. You will never, a real analyst who worked for a 3-letter agency, a real person who really understand this dynamic would never tell you where they work, man. They will tell you they work for a private.
You know, when you are in when you're in an apartment complex, it's nothing but 3-letter guys.
Yeah.
I know that you have probably seen this. I know I've seen it. You know, and I work very closely with an ODA. Yeah. And some OGAs as well, other government agencies. But anytime they're around there is a ego contest. It's whose ops are blacker. Yeah. And they get into this. And what I see going on right here is this is my opinion, is that these two dudes are operators of Pakistan. They are Pakistani. They're from Pakistan. They are operators of Pakistan, and their job is to collect intel that they don't know what that intel is. Their intel seems insignificant. Where people are going when they're coming out, so they don't see big picture because they don't have emails. They're not the Pakistani operators that are collecting emails. They're the Pakistani operators that are watching people come and go and leave. And now they're surrounded for 2 years by these egostisticals. And I'm going to tell you right now, they didn't just come into this. In 2 years, because you don't come in with that kind of knowledge right off of the bat and trick everybody. So they had some kind of 4 years of training. They were attached to 3-letter agencies way before this. So, and when they got there,
they know how to collect. I can guarantee you they're trained highly psychologically.
They're very trained highly. They're very trained highly because you can't talk. Yes.
What's your name in my phone is Skate Daddy Transy now, by the way. Gotcha. I think I do. If you said this and I missed it, I apologize. Okay. So who authorized these guys to have apartments in here? Like how did that happen?
I'm going to get to it. So all right, let's go on. Witness 3. We're narrowing it down here. We're almost done. Witness 3 is a member of the United States Secret Service. So now we have 2 witnesses that are part of the Secret Service. One who has been to Sahada's house, who has seen that he has surveillance of the entire building, and has been offered this Glock 19, or has seen this Glock 19 Generation 5. Now the only thing that Witness 2 did maybe wrong in this, and he has been relieved of his duty as of right now, and he's under investigation, is he to Sahada gave him a Aryan tactical holster and took him to a range and let him,
like a white supremacy one.
Ayan tactical. AYIN.
It's an Aryan.
I didn't mean to. AYIN tactical holster. And actually took him to a range and expressed to him how great the thing is. And so now, you know, I don't, and so right now he's been relieved of his duty for taking a gift or taking a bribe. This is the top. using these FBI or these Secret Service agents as a scapegoat. I don't see that taking a gift. I see that as a mentorship. You've got a guy that's an HSI investigator. You're a Secret Service agent that's a fucking bodyguard. And now you're looking at a real operator, a real investigator that's as what he believes is investigating January 6th corruption. He's living in a building that you only assume is secure. You've seen that this dude is running a real operation where he is got cameras up all over this building. I mean, you don't think that just Joe Schmuckatelli can do that. So this guy's the real fucking deal. This guy's a real motherfucking operator. He's already got the Gen 5 Glock 19. And now he's telling me that the best holster out there is this AN holster. And he's willing to give me one and take me to the range to use me. Fuck yeah. So I don't think the FBI agent did anything wrong. I think he just got tricked. But anyway, so he takes that holster. He still is in possession of that holster to this day. Witness number 3, another Secret Service agent, uniform division. The other one was not uniformed and attached to Joe Biden. This one is uniformed, assigned to protect the White House complex. He lived in a penthouse apartment suite blank at the same address in Washington, D.C. from 2021 to 2022. Tahazada introduced himself to Witness 3 as an HSI agent. Tahazada told Witness 3 that he is currently in a gang unit with DHS and that Tahazada used to work in crimes against children. Witness 3 stated that Tahazada's credentials say ICE on them and indicate that he is a special agent. Tahazada provided Witness 3 with a rent-free penthouse apartment for approximately 1 year, which cost approximately $40,200. According to Witness 3, Tahazada paid for another federal law enforcement officer's rent at the apartment complex, which was, and he's another witness, and that was $48,000 a year. Witness 3 confirmed that Tahazada lives in and has several apartments in the complex. Witness 3 stated that he received an email from what he believed to be Tahazada's DHS email, which was atahrzada@dhs.ussp.us.
So
Witness
they
3
didn't. Tahazada didn't live there for free. He was paying for other people to live there.
He gave 2 apartments to 2 federal agents and said, now it's later on in the thing and I won't read it, I'll just skip ahead, but he told them that DHS provided them with 5 apartments.
But he was in reality paying whoever really owns the facility.
Because he tabbed
somebody
those apartments.
Gotcha.
Somebody was paying for it.
Yeah.
Now that's another great question because he wasn't paying for it. Matter of fact, when the judge releases bail, he uses the fact that Tahazada and Ali weren't paying for their apartments and that they were broke. And that is why they weren't spies. They were just wannabe heroes.
Impossible.
Now listen, it's going to get crazy. I'm telling you, this is worth the wait, folks. This is worth it. I'm not blowing this up. It's worth it. Okay. Tahazada's email, I just told you it's dhs.ussp.us. Now that all sounds great, but we all know that government emails are .gov.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But this one's .us. Witness 3 also recalled that the email he or she received from the address has disclaimers regarding receiving information from a federal agency. Subsequent investigation confirmed that the email address is false. It's fraudulent. It's not genuine. And it is not a United States government email address. While in Tahazada's primary residence, Witness 3 observed that Tahazada possessed FLETC training certificates, private identity verification card, commonly referred to as a PIV card, which Tahazada uses to access a laptop that is labeled with a DHS symbol. Witness 3 stated that he saw a federal logon privacy notice when Tahazada logged onto a DHS computer. Why this is important, and Mike, you might not have experience with this, but I know Hamidi, you do. We call it a CAC card back in the day. It was a CAC card and it has a little microchip on it. To get onto a government computer, you must slide your CAC card into a CAC reader to get into the access to the computer. Now, these guys were so privy that they made their own CAC card to access their own, and I'm using quotes here, fake government computer. I'm not sure that these are fake government computers, and I'm not sure that these are fake CAC cards either. But that's going a long way to trick people because I rigged my computer to access it without using the CAC card because there was a way around it. But I was a piece of shit as well. So anyway, Witness 3 said that he saw him go on with his privacy login notice. So that means he's seen somebody else log into a computer and has seen that there is a privacy notice that prompts up, and they have manipulated that into their own personal, air quote, government computers. That's pretty sneaky. That's pretty smart. That's knowing your shit. Beginning in 2021, Witness 3 observed Tahazada carrying a Glock 19, but cannot state how recently that occurred. He saw it with him. frequently and too many times to determine all the dates. Basically, this motherfucker carries a Glock 19 everywhere. The most recent date that he could think of was January 2022. Tasahada provided witness 3 with gifts including an HSI coin and a DSI patch. Now, this witness number 3, all he took, well, not all he took a fucking free apartment, but he also took a coin and a patch, which I think that's funny that they add that into the investigation, because what motherfucker doesn't take a coin and a patch when offered? Witness 3 confirmed that Ali lives in the apartment complex, but he could not specify exactly where Ali lived. He only knew where Tasahada lived because he'd only been to Tahada's apartment, which is funny because both witness 1 and 2 have only been to Tahada's and not Ali's. So who knows what the fuck was in Ali's apartment? Witness 4 is a document analyst. This is the last witness. Witness 4 is a document analyst expert with Department of Homeland Security and HSI. This guy's a real DHS HSI, and he's been duped.
Or
he lives in the apartment complex located at blank. And around January 2021, Tasahada approached Witness 4 and told him that he knew Witness 4 was affiliated with HSI or possibly United States Citizen Immigration Service, which is a part of DHS. Tasahada told Witness 4 that he was an HSI agent, but that he was working undercover. Witness 4 talked to the supervisors about Tasahada and were unable to verify his information. When Witness 4 confronted Tasahada about the inability to locate his name in the HSI database, Tasahada claimed that his name was redacted due to his undercover status. Witness 4 observed Tasahada carrying a weapon, which was a handgun, Glock 19. Tasahada claimed that Witness 4 he had a list of all federal agents in the apartment complex. Witness 4 stated Tasahada has codes to the elevators on every floor that gives him access, which is beyond what any other resident possessed, to include all other federal agents. Tasahada primary residence, Witness 4 saw
which is exactly why these guys aren't just poor bums trying to imitate cops.
Exactly. Yeah. Witness 4 saw a significant amount of law enforcement paraphernalia, including SWAT vests, a large safe, computers, high-powered telescopes, Intel surveillance cameras, other surveillance cameras inside the apartment, and 4 surveillance footage cameras from around the actual apartment complex that were active. So they were actively watching. Witness 5 is a member of the United States Secret Service Uniform Division assigned to protect the White House. Okay, this is witness number 5. Tasahada provided Witness 5 with a rent-free 3-bedroom apartment with an estimated value of approximately $48,242. So now we're up to fucking 5 apartment complex.
Where did this money come from?
Thank you. And the court says that they only had 2 apartments. It's not true. It's not true, because if he's giving somebody else rent, 2 other people plus his brother, that equals 5, my friend. That equals
Again,
5.
I don't think the agents will be held on what information they shared in person with them. I do believe the government agents will be held on what conversations they had inside of their own apartments.
Yes, yes. So
with their family members,
friends,
whatever it is. Only God knows, man. If they got the apartment, look, we have done this in Iraq. We have done this in multiple places. Most of average Americans think is like wiretap. You can only listen to audio. With nowadays technology, these individuals they kind of run the apartments before giving it to somebody. It might not even be just audio or wiretap. It may be a video that's set within the wall that you can't see it. And they will be able to get into what you're emailing, what you have in your laptop, what are you reading, what you're doing. So truly, I do believe that the agents will be accountable for what they had talked about inside of these apartments, and they need to come forward sooner than
you got
is what they have talked about, because this information most likely is already somewhere else.
But they won't, because they've seen how much corruption has gone on with everybody else, where everybody else just denies everything instead of telling the truth, which will literally set everybody free. Washington, D.C. is you have to lie about everything. You can't make a mistake.
And they might not want to want to save their own lives.
But I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in denying. I don't believe in counter accusations. Yeah. In a scenario like this, I feel like the truth is where it's at. But anyway, throughout the period, has provided Witness 5 with a rent-free 3-bedroom apartment with an estimated value of $48,240. Specifically, told Witness 5 that HSI had provided extra rooms as a part of his operation, and that Witness 5 could live in one of them for free because they have it and it's not being used. Why not? Makes sense. The investigation
Or
confirmed that
we
there
really
are-
want the information you're going to talk about while you're sitting in this apartment for a
Yeah,
year. Yay.
please. Yay. The investigation confirmed that there are no such SI operations and that there is no authorized such expense. Tazada claimed to be an agent of SSI in the gang unit. Tazahada told Witness 5 that he was a special police officer, part of USSP, and was the front end of his HSI task force. Witness 5 has seen Tazahada tell other individuals at the apartment that he is an HSI agent and detailed training to become HSI agent, which was accurate. Witness 5 has seen Tazahada interact with Metropolitan Police Department while wearing HSI uniforms. For instance, according to Witness 5, on one occasion, MPD responded to an apartment complex because of a complaint that Tazahada himself was wearing police equipment in the lobby. Somebody didn't feel comfortable and they called the police. Metro came over and Capitol PD. I was able to talk to one of those officers. Witness 5 stated that MPD responded to the scene, but they didn't take any action. I actually was able to contact in 48 hours one of those officers. He said, dude, they had fucking credentials and you're in that apartment complex, which is all agents.
Yeah.
So like everybody outranks us.
It'd be a 30-second interaction.
You'd be like, yep, not above our pay grade. Deuces.
Hey,
Witness
man, we
5
got called because what you're wearing, like people were intimidated or whatever. You got any identification on you? Yeah, absolutely, officer. I'm with HSI, and here's my badge. Here's my ID. Just headed to whatever. Blah blah blah. Oh, all right, cool, man. Sorry to bother you. Just it is what it is. All right, fist bump later.
And the call, I think, according to my source, was that it was, is there something going on? Because there's a tacked out dude in here. Like, what's going on in the apartment? Do we even know about it? Witness 5 recalled that Witness 5, again, he's a Secret Service member, that he had a PIV or a CAT card, as we called it back in the Army, which he believes which had DHS on it. And the background to Hazada's computer had DSS information to show Witness 5 his badge, that he was his credentials. Witness 5 said Tazahada identified himself primarily as DHS HSI, but he carried a special police officer badge on his person more often. And Witness 5 has seen DHS on Tazahada's ballistic vest as well. Since approximately February 2020, Witness 5 seen Tazahada carry a Glock 19 on his person prior to the Glock. I mean, just it goes on and on and on. It's all the same shit. While Tazahada's primary residence, Witness 5 recalled seeing a desktop computer, cameras, and a gun locker. On the wall of the apartment, Witness 5 saw FLETC training certificates and Police 1 certificates. Witness 5 also saw DHS patches, a handgun, a rifle, airsoft gun. Witness 5 recalled that the rifle was kept to Hazada's office in his primary residence and that the gun was hidden under the desk in the living room. While in another apartment maintained by controlled by Tazahada, Witness 5 recalled seeing police equipment, computer monitors, and a computer server. Tazahada told Witness 5 that all the equipment was for use in connection with HSI Task Force. Again, the task force was attached to the January 6th insurrection. And around January 2020, Witness 5 moved out of the rent-free apartment. Tazahada provided him. Witness 5 then observed Tazahada begin moving law enforcement equipment back into that apartment. Witness 5 said that Tazahada has full access to all floors of the apartment and some restricted areas. Believes Tazahada spoke with management of the apartment complex and was able to get access to these because of his HSI operation. Witness 5 further stated that Tazahada had equipment and documents which he or she had seen containing the names and room numbers of each resident in the apartment complex. Tazahada told Witness 5 that Ali took care of all administrative issues with this task force.
Crazy.
So in conclusion, based on my training experience, the information provided in this affidavit, there is probable cause to believe that in 2020, the District of Columbia, elsewhere, Arian Tazahada and Haider Ali to falsely assume to pretend to be officers and employed acting under the authority of the United States and any document agencies. Okay.
Remind me again, I think maybe I speak for the audience as well when I'm trying to make sure that I connect these dots. The first sort of movement of this story where we talked about Imran Awan and his literally decade plus involvement in spying in the Congress as an IT person, him and his family and all this other stuff, they kind of get away scot-free, basically. Is that just a comparison of the ways that these guys got in, or what is the connection between Ali and Tazahada to the Imran or anybody else?
That is a good question. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like I said, this is 48 hours. of intense research on my part, which if had I known this case was going to be this crazy, and I'm about to tie the two together, I would have said like, let's do this in a fucking 2 weeks or so, because I think
I guess that's my question. How are you tying these two things together?
So let's tie these two together really quick. And I'm sorry, my brain's going 1,000 miles a minute. Okay, so if we tie these things two together, so now the judge 6 days later has set bail and has said, you ready for this, Mike? This is the end of this. This is the end of the episode. Before we go to this, before I blow this wide open, before I fucking shock all of you, let's talk about Rip Pack, baby. You know why you can't smell my breath through this microphone? Because I'm using Rip Pack. My breath is fresh, baby. Rip Pack is a new way to brush your teeth, created by former Marines, which is crazy. That it was by Marines, because I thought there would be a crayon flavored Rip Pack. Basically what Rip Pack is, and that's vegan friendly. It's everything friendly. It's got all the things you want in life. But what I think is great about this Rip Pack thing is, have you ever had Pop Rocks, Mike?
I'm sorry, I'm freshening my breath.
Oh, are you using it? I'm looking at the ad read, so I can't see it. If you've never had Pop Rocks, imagine Pop Rocks, but instead of full of candy and bullshit, these things explode in your mouth with a waterless toothpaste that you don't need water to rinse your mouth out.
I'm going to use it right now. I'm going to use it while we're doing this, while we're doing the ad read.
Do it. 100% all natural, vegan friendly, gluten and chemical free. That's a great way to keep your breath fresh while providing lasting clean feeling all day. You put this shit in your mouth, you swish it around for 30 seconds. It brushes your teeth. You even get a little toothbrush with it because you want to do it, but you don't need any water. You don't need any water. You just spit it out and your mouth just dries out immediately. It's insane. It's the most brilliant thing. When we got Rip Pack, I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, send me the shit. I'll see if we're going to endorse this or not. It sounds gimmicky. It sounds like bullshit. I'm in fucking love with it, dude. I'm in love with it. I can't chew gum anymore because Mike gets mad at me. I can't do podcasts. I'm doing 4 a day. Can't chew gum. I do lunch meetings. I always finish my lunch meeting with coffee because I got to pick me up. And I don't want to be smoking somebody with my coffee breath. I hit these Rip Packs, 15 come in each pack. They don't weigh anything. If you're a backpacker, if you're on the Appalachian Trail, if you're a soldier, if you're a
gay,
first responder,
if you're straight,
if you're gay, if you're straight, if you're bi, if you're trans, if you're any of those things, maybe you've been sucking.
If you're a Democrat,
you don't
if
want
you're
your
a spy,
mouth, you don't want your mouth smelling like dick.
If you're a fake
cock.
agent,
if you're a fake agent, and you, I don't know why a fake agent would need to brush his teeth in the middle of.
You don't
being
want
a fake
penis
agent.
breath.
If you don't want penis breath, this is the shit, man. You dump it in, you swish it around, you spit it out. Dude, I'm in love with this stuff. Every time I smoke a cigar, I hit this shit. Every time I have a cup of coffee, I hit this shit. And it's better. You're not walking around with like fucking floss in your mouth and just like gross. Like you literally go to the bathroom really quick.
Yeah,
don't go to the
gross.
Fucking throw this shit in your mouth, spit it down the toilet, get back in the game.
So.
Right now, you can use that promo code.
Not endorsed by the American Dental Association.
But use that promo code Wolfpack and support this company. They are incredible. Next up, we've got Ghostbed, baby. And if it wasn't for Ghostbed, I would not be alive right now to tell you the story that I'm telling you, that I'm about to wrap it up, because you can't do this shit without a good night's rest.
After you tell this story today.
Dude, it's when I blow this open here in just a second. Hamidi, you guys, I want you all to be here for it. You guys are going to be like, Tansey, you might be a genius, bro. Ghostbed's been a loyal sponsor. I've got my policy genius, so I'm not worried about it. I already got my insurance set up. But Ghostbed's been a loyal sponsor of the Drinking Bros for the past 5 years. Like I said, it's got to be 6 by now. I think this ad reads bullshit when it comes to that. Everyone raves about them. I don't care. I hope they sponsor us for the rest of our lives. I love Ghostbed. Super comfortable mattresses that last forever, and they're made in the good old USA. Every mattress has a 20-year warranty. Some even have 25, and you can try it out. Not for 101 nights, actually. Not 98, not 99, but 101. If you don't like it, you can easily return it. No hard feelings. But yeah, well, one of our favorite parts about Ghostbed is that each mattress has that cooling technology. Look, it's that time of the year where it's getting hot as fucking North Carolina, and you're gonna need that cooling technology. Cool it down a little bit, baby.
I love mine.
Look, I got 3 more weeks before I can have sex, because after your wife has a baby, you can't have sex for like 4 weeks. So I'm going to need that cooling technology. I won't make a ruckus of it. Ghostbed also offers bundles that you can get everything you need. You don't even have to really think about it. Just choose from their 4 mattresses and pick your bundle, whether you just need a mattress and a frame or you want it all, like their cooling pillows and sheets. You can get the best bang for your buck. Right now, Ghostbed is offering 40% off Ghostbed bundles where you can get a mattress and adjustable base with 30% off of everything if you use that code DRINKINBROS, DRNKIN bros at ghostbed.com. You can buy a mattress for like $35 a month, 0 down, 0% financing. That is if you're backed by Pakistan. Go check out
Podcast host Eric Tansey passes away from a heart attack, collects a Policy Genius policy. His wife is found to have been using a rip pack right after performing after 3... Wait.
Coitus on a ghost bed. All right. So here we go. I'm ready to blow this thing wide the fuck open. Are you ready for this? You ready how I link these things together?
Please.
What is the one word of collusion that we've heard about for fucking 6 years?
Russia.
Okay. What were the WikiLink email drops linked to?
Russia.
What's the Hunter Biden laptop that was hacked or found? What is it linked to?
Ukraine.
Russia.
Oh.
That means Russia.
Yeah, sure. What is all the evidence? If you're a police officer and you're only going on evidence and you're not going on hearsay, you're not going anything else. If you're being objective and you're only going on evidence, who's got access to a fuck ton of emails?
Trump.
Pakistan. Come on, be serious. This is a serious thing. I'm
right.
being serious. Like, I really feel this in my heart. What evidence do you have as a cop looking at this investigation right now? Who has access to every single email? What does the evidence show? What evidence?
Iran and Russia.
Pakistan. These are all Pakistanis. They're all Pakistanis. Every single email from 2004 to 2017.
Okay.
That
so
was
here's my question.
That was leaked to WikiLink. All happened in the same 4-month span as Imran. And now you've got 2 other Pakistanis that have literally infiltrated the highest level of security. I mean, the second highest level, when you have gotten as close to Joe Biden as these guys have, and a Secret Service agent who's living, that you're paying rent to a man who personally protects Joe Biden, that's pretty fucking good. When you are a Pakistani,
that's a high level infiltration.
And it's all Pakistan. So what if this is what I really want to investigate. What if there is no Russia collusion? What if there's only Pakistani collusion? What if these 2 spies, these 3 spies, or there's more because it's his brothers and his sisters. What if these spies, what if this guy, what if Imran was the one that had all the emails? What if Imran is the one that murdered Seth and the DNC only days after the investigation started on the server that was linked to Debbie Schultz? If you think about it, in 48 hours that I have sleeping at night, why does Debbie Schultz give 2 fucks about a Pakistani IT guy? What government agent gives a fuck about an IT guy and doesn't fire him until 1 day after he's been arrested? Why does the media give any fucks about a Democratic IT guy? Nobody cares about a police department IT guy. They'd fire that motherfucker in a second.
From an investigative perspective, I'm looking at what you presented today and I'm thinking, okay, the real question to me is Pakistan the tip of the spear or is it the tail of the dog? Right? Like, are these Pakistani assets being used by Iran or used by Russia, or is Russia being blamed as a distraction, a misinformation on behalf of Pakistan, who's really running this operation? That's where Hamidi comes in from. Maybe some final thoughts to wrap this up, because we've been hammering for 2 hours here. So what would your next questions be, Hamidi, in terms of that? Or do you think that my question is dumb, or is it a smart one to ask? Like, is Pakistan in charge of this, or are they just being used?
No, absolutely. Pakistan has history, man, of being look, in the intelligent world, we look at Pakistan as one of the biggest, I'm saying as the Pakistani government, as one of the biggest snakes in the world. They're known to stab you on your back all the time. They're known to do things that are totally against your interests. starting from hiding bin Laden to doing all kind of things. Then they got a long history of it. So yeah, your question is not dumb. The Pakistan always have terrible intention towards what we do, man. That they're the ally that we can't trust. And you always have to remember that the biggest and where the biggest and the greatest hackers in the world ever come from. They come from India and Pakistan. So this is what they're good at. This is where they have the best people to do what they do. And yeah, your question is spot on. And the Pakistani, even though they get this kind of intelligence, it doesn't mean they're keeping it to themselves. It means they can.
We already know that they sold some of it to Iran, for
they
sure.
can gain a lot of things for their own interests with Iran, other countries. So, end of this is that this country has proven itself, especially in the last 2 months or so, is extremely exposed. Our underwear is down, as far as I know so far in this country, and we need to get back to protecting ourselves and going through the proper clearances and knowing who is who. And these guys are just a small number of many thousands right now that are collecting as we speak in DC.
How do you feel about them being bailed out last night?
I'm shocked in a way that, and also you have to look at this, Eric, that there is possibility that there might bail them, let them go out intentionally to see what their next move is. There is possible that these guys left no track, even though they're caught now pretending to be fake Homeland Security agent, but that's not their main thing. They know they were going to get caught eventually. It was about how long could they go before they get caught. The question remains is that there could be possibility that they let them out to see what their next move is. I don't believe these individuals are just going to show up to the FBI and tell them everything they've been planning and who they really look for. These are trained.
They have been turned over to the FBI.
Yeah.
Right? The FBI is the one that leads this entire investigation.
Sure do trust them.
So in 1990s, I'm just going to go through a quick list here. 1996, the campaign finance controversy, the U.S. Department of Justice investigation into the fundraising activities had uncovered evidence that Chinese agents sought to direct contributions for foreign sources to the Democratic National Convention. In addition to partisan complaints from Republicans, a number of FBI agents suggested the investigation into the fundraising controversy were willfully impeded. This was one of the biggest and largest of the 90s FBI fuck-ups in history, and it was the campaign finance controversy all around the Democratic National Convention and the FBI. Then, if you look back, you had the Robert Hansan. Remember Robert Hansan, who infiltrated almost to the highest level of the FBI? Right? Remember that?
Yes.
The FBI school shooting, where they had information about the school shooting and they ignored it, where they had given information to the FBI that this guy had said he was going to, that Nicholas Cruz, that a person close to Nicholas Cruz was the suspected shooter, and according to the statement, the caller provided information of Cruz's gun ownership, his desire to kill people, and his erratic behavior, and the FBI wrote it off. The Hillary Clinton email investigation that the FBI completely fucked up, and like 3 people were fired from that. The DOJ watchdog report that came out, the James Comey dismissal. I mean, dude, how many mistakes does the FBI, remember the whole South America prostitution ring that the FBI got caught for? Absolutely great. And then of course the FBI surveillance on the Trump's White House that they got caught for, and the Steele dossier, yada yada yada. So now the FBI gets to have charge of this case too, where the guys get bonded out, even though his wife already tried to leave the country and go to Pakistan.
Yeah, this is
It's
crazy.
very creepy, and it all goes back.
We have no clue. We have no clue who paid, where they were getting their money to pay for all these apartments.
Yes. Where were they getting the money? Where do you think, Hamidi?
I think that the FBI is not releasing complete information.
Do you think the FBI is
the money? And they're obligated, and they should share that with the American people. The American people deserve to know what the rest of the truth is. So yeah, definitely to do all this job, to get all this money, somebody is paying for this. And they
do you think the FBI is trustworthy, or do you think the FBI is corrupt, just I think it's a cesspool of corruption. I don't think that I think if you work for the FBI, you either get out or you just be a piece of shit. I don't think there's any redeemable quality of the
Look,
FBI.
I mean, that's where I really kind of like stop. Is there like it's impossible that the FBI would do something would allow that will be shame if the FBI allow like some foreign intelligence agency to collect on its own country. I mean, it sounds pretty crazy. They do. I mean, look, foreign intelligence agencies always have people work within the FBI. They had that in the past. It's not something secret. But however, I do believe that there's more to this information. There's more to this case that the public is not aware of. And I'm not really sure what the FBI intention
right.
is
And it's hard
by not releasing the rest of information to show where their finances are come from, because that solves it all. Where they're making their end meet from. They pretended, but how do they make money? The Homeland Security didn't give them money. So,
right. But do you think it's coincidence that they were working for the DNC? Do you think it's a coincidence that they were working for the Democrats? Like, why choose to be on the side of the Democrats?
Because
why be on the side of Hillary Clinton? Why did they decide
earlier? It's easier to infiltrate.
Because right now, I'm thoroughly convinced that the emails that got released to WikiLeaks had nothing to do with Russia. I think it was this Pakistani guy. I think this Pakistani guy released all that information. I mean, the timeline adds right up.
Yeah, like we're not really sure that's a like as you said it's a theory that you don't know if that's true or not. And what if these guys actually work for Russia?
Well, sure, there's that too. There's that too.
Possibility.
Boys, this episode raises as many questions as information presented, but I think in a good way. I don't think that if you listen to this whole thing, it's not like we're not making assertions that are baseless. We're trying to we're giving you information that is in plain view, and we're trying to connect some dots. And it is not easy to break news like this with what little information and distractions, and smokes getting popped here and there by God knows who for God knows what motives. It's nuts. But we're trying to bring it to you in an engaging way, and hopefully you listen to this and maybe you're like, oh my gosh, this is nuts. This goes way deeper, and this is both more disturbing and more simple than I ever thought it was. And hang with us through this kind of stuff. And man,
it's fun.
This is
I'm glad it's over.
This is fun. And sorry, Tansey, for all of the stress that you were endured for 2 days to get
it was
any
more
information
excitement.
on this.
It was more excitement, and I wish I knew
more serious about it than anybody I've seen.
What's that?
I said Tansey was more serious about this than anybody I've seen.
Well, it's fun because in a case breakdown like this, like normally we have the case breakdown, we can see everybody's opinions, we can see kind of everything, but on this one, it's been so hush hush and it's so out of the media, and but all I could do was just go on evidence that was presented to me, and I felt like a crazy person in the last 48 hours. I felt like a nut. I'm like, dude, what is this? What is this? How did this Seth guy die? I didn't even know that this Seth guy was murdered just walking down the block. I didn't know that he was murdered. And then for me, when I was like, wait, hang on, what date was he murdered on? Hey, what date did this Assange thing start where he released it? I really believe in my heart, and I'm going to do some more research on my own because I'm obsessed with this, but I think Imran is the one that released all those emails to WikiLeaks. What if he did? What if Imran was the one that released those to WikiLeaks and it's not Russia and everybody's looking at the wrong place?
I'm more concerned about the connection, the possible connections between that situation and these fake HSI guys, right?
And Imran filed a lawsuit against many media channels and individuals for defamation,
I think including Trump.
And it kind of crazy. Isn't it crazy that someone who's been just investigated, been filing bankruptcy,
can just drop a lawsuit on somebody?
You drop lawsuits on people. Where do you get this kind of money to hire the lawyers you have? That's what just
God bless America.
Oh. Let me finish one more fact. Yeah. Imran, guess who his attorney was?
Who?
This is not conspiracy. This is actual 100% fact.
Crump?
Hillary Clinton's lawyer. Her personal lawyer was Imran's attorney.
I see.
Yeah. But
the Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky scandal, same guy.
Really gave you guys two stories, and maybe you guys can help connect some of the dots in the comments about your own research or thoughts on these. We have to wrap it up, but be sure to catch Hamidy's Black Site podcast. The fact that he will be talking to Zelensky's right-hand man, basically, is not a little thing. So if you guys have appreciated Hamidy's influence and information on our show, be sure to go support his and keep it in the family, show the support, and get really good information. So check out the Black Site Show with Hamody Jasim, the Terrorist Whisperer. We appreciate him being here and hanging out with us and a little color commentary today. Thank you, Eric, for all of the research. On behalf of everyone at the Failure to Stop family, we bid
Hammer the like button.
good weekend.